and welcome to Thursdays on the Stoop. Today we have Ripples, writing the pattern within the pattern with Maximus Adarve. Maximus is a writer and artist based in Philadelphia. He earned his MFA from Rutgers University, Camden, where he now teaches writing. He is the assistant manager at Giovanni's Room Bookstore. His work explores fathers and sons, home and distance, and the quiet weight of guilt. His writing appears in Maudlin House, Pretty Owl Poetry, and New World Writing Quarterly. Maximus, thank you for being here. Take it away.
All right. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah, so uh I'm just gonna get straight into it. This is Ripples. Uh so if you all would like to um give answers to the following questions, we can get started. Uh so just I think for the interest of time, because there's a lot of us here, if you'd like to drop your answers to these questions in the chat, that would be amazing. If you could go around, state your name, uh, and what you want. In one word, what would it mean for this workshop to be successful to you? Um, I'll start. I'm Max. I teach composition mostly over at Rutgers Camden, again, where I received my MFA in fiction. Um, I think success in this workshop for me would be uh, I'm going to just go with generative. Give a couple minutes for people to chime in. Think of one word. No need to explain or extrapolate. What do you want? So this is going to be a generative writing workshop. Um, the main aim here for me is to help you situate thematic resonance within observational writing. Um, so what that means um, to me is comes down to these like core concepts or principles. I think that one feature of like really, really great writing, whether it's fiction, as it says here, or nonfiction poetry, is this feeling when some small element sort of something clicks when you read it. You have like a description or a discrete scene that feels like it in a moment just encapsulates everything that you're thinking about while you're reading the whole piece. Or um, I think a lot people will say like a moment of arrival, sort of, where the through lines that you've been tracing as you've been reading sort of get themselves all tangled together. Um, and yeah, I think that that feels really, really magical when you are reading. And I can't really think of a better feeling than when everything just all at once comes together like that. And um, the idea is in this workshop to try and think about how um, we can turn something that feels like a magic trick like that into a skill that you can hone and apply uh, like at will, sort of. Um, so this is uh, just like a sort of little situating activity before we get started. Um, so if you could do me a favor and look around the room that you're in and count how many things that you see that are red. Take a couple minutes. All right. Now close your eyes This is the only time I'll have you do that. I know that's a little weird. Uh, how many things in your room are blue? All right. So that's a little bit stupid, but the point here is that, again, you see what you're looking for. Um, attention creates meaning. Uh, details aren't neutral. If you want to get to a point where a small image or element can represent something larger, it starts with paying attention to what you pay attention to. Um, the person that I think about when it comes to this concept is like my very first creative writing professor in college, whose name is Janet DeSaulnier. And she had us do a lot of like field work, basically. We would go out and we would collect things, bits of dialogue, um, descriptions of small objects. And about half of the semester was dedicated to like building this habit of continuous collection. Um, the idea being that through the simple like noticing and accumulation of observations, the things collected would start to also collect meaning by being noticed. So once the things had been written down in our iPhone notes or in our notebooks, over time, more and more things would start ending up next to them. And then slowly in the background, uh, our brains would start kind of tying ribbons around those different collected items and drawing them closer. Um, the idea here is that what you notice as a reader, not just a reader of writing, of fiction, of nonfiction, but of a reader of the environment, the world around you, um, what you notice becomes what you choose. What you notice without knowing why becomes the things that you begin to uh, frame your writing around. Um, and just like uh, when you're looking for red, it's harder to notice the blue. When you're looking for something specific, thematic, meaningful um, to use within your writing, uh, the meaning starts to reveal itself to you. Um, that's could be a little bit woo-woo sounding. So we're going to get into some examples. Um, this is from the Grapes of Wrath. Um, I'm just going to read this first quote and then I will pull up uh, another one that we can analyze together. Um, oops. The tractors came over the roads and into the fields, great crawlers moving like insects, having the incredible strength of insects. They crawled over the ground, laying the track and rolling on it and picking it up. Diesel tractors puttering while they stood idle. They thundered when they moved and then settled down into a droning roar. Snub-nosed monsters raising the dust and sticking their snouts into it straight down in the country, straight down the country, across the country, through fences, through dooryards, in and out of gullies, in straight lines. They did not run on the ground, but on their own road beds. They ignored hills and gulches, watercourses, fences, houses. Um, so this is what I think about when I think about this idea of ripples. Um, you can see how the frame that Steinbeck uses here of um, the metaphor he's building of these inhuman machines and the way that they are interacting with the land around them um, starts to, you know, ripple outward to the larger ideas behind the book as a whole, which For those of you like me who didn't read this in high school, um, it's during the Dust Bowl, the over-industrialization of the land leads to the great drought and then eventually dust storms that um, displace like all of the farmers in the center of the country. Uh, and this idea of um, man becoming more mechanized and therefore more dehumanized uh, is not something that just occurs in this moment about tractors, but resonates throughout the rest of the book. Um, and it ties into the way that the um, farmers are physically displaced from their land. The whole thing is sort of gets into this concept of industrial dehumanization. And yeah, this moving like insects. Uh, what else do we have in here? I mean, he calls them monsters right there. Yeah, that's pretty. I don't know, pretty salacious. But yeah, you can see there. This isn't. These aren't neutral observations. Everything that's occurring in this paragraph is very intentional. Um, yeah, we move insects on the field, and then by the end, they're monsters, and uh, they're at your doorstep. Um, so we're gonna try uh, with one. Uh, can everyone see this quote? Yes, no. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna read it again, and then I'm gonna open the floor in the chat to get a couple responses. What do we think this book is about, just based on this one passage? So I'll read. And there's no right or wrong answers, just when you have an idea, whether it's a word or a whole concept, just type it in the chat. I left the city and made my way downriver alone to meet the ship I awaited without knowing when it would come. I reached the old wharf. I observed among its pilings the writhing patch of water that ebbs between them. A dead monkey, still whole, still undecomposed, drifted back and forth with a certain precision upon those ripples and eddies without exit. All his life had beckoned him to a journey he did not take until he was no longer a monkey, but only a monkey's corpse. The water that bore him up tried to bear him away, but he was caught among the posts of the decrepit wharf. And there he was, ready to go and not going. And there we were, ready to go and not going. All right, cool. All right. Any ideas? What could this be about? What do we think the book might be about? How is the protagonist feeling? Yes, being stuck, contexts, escape, unable to escape, something morbid. Yeah, waiting, frozen by uncertainty. Yeah, exactly. Power of indecision, grieving, homesickness. Yeah, uh, exactly right. Um, so this is Zama. I know this is backwards, but it's a cool cover. I don't know if you can see. Anyway, um, I just started reading this book. It's really good. It's like a weird Kafka type story with this guy. He's like a mid-level bureaucrat in colonial Spain, and he's stationed in like Asuncion, Paraguay, and waiting. to get reassigned to Buenos Aires so he can like rejoin the where like civilization is happening and stuff like that. He's isolated. His family hasn't come with him, uh, and he ends up waiting for like 9 years to get reassigned, and he's just like kind of it's like just stuck in this bureaucratic nightmare basically. And yeah, I mean it's all right here, and it's all in what you all noticed as well, like the feeling of stuck, the homesickness even, um, the uncertainty, ready to go and not going. I mean it's in there. And he is seeing himself as this undecomposed monkey. He has no agency, he has no, you know, movement forward. He can't affect change. He's in this water. The water, the external thing can't even move him along. He's trapped completely. Uh, he can't swim, but he also can't be swept away. Um, and you get it, and this is the opening of this is like, I don't know, three-fourths of the first page. This is like the opening image. You see him, and you see exactly what um he thinks and feels. You get the themes of the whole book in the first, I don't know, 200 words. And that's what we're trying to work towards here. So we're gonna do our first little writing activity. This is a dry run for what we're gonna do next. So um, get out a writing utensil, piece of paper, and use your computer. Um, we're going to start with the space that you're in right now, and we're going to start as small as we can. Um, Single words that describe your space. It can be the room that you're in, it can be the room that you're normally in when you write, if you're somewhere like work. Um, Try and remain sensory with these words instead of explanational. So start with like stuff like dry. Describe the sound, describe the color, and just words. No need to expand. Take about 3 minutes. All right. If you have a handful of words, expand outward, write bullet points about how those words feel. How does the room feel? If you were using only those observed things as evidence, what would that mean about the room being described? All right. You have a handful of bullet points. Expand outwards again. Try and work these into sentences, describing the room. Build a short paragraph. If you're stuck or you're feeling ambitious, you can respond to this question. So if you've already described the room, or you want to go beyond description, what's one change that would make this space better reflect your writing goals? All right. If you are still writing, keep writing. If you are ready to move on, we will move on. So this description of your room, the movement here, we're going to mimic this in the main writing activity. So we're going to start in the same way, something small, something sensory, and we're going to situate that within a space or a context or a narrative moment. Then we're going to expand that further, zooming out to something thematic. Uh, so in the first place, again, try and keep it to the five senses. Uh, Try and refrain from things that feel like explanation. Um, in the second case, I should say too, with this first step, you can choose something uh, in the room. You can choose something that um, you've been noticing lately, something that uh, you keep seeing out in the world. Think about maybe something that you've uh, been subconsciously collecting. Um, and in the second one, too, is you move uh, out to where that item exists, whether in space or in context in the story. Um, how could this be something that you give to a character How could someone in one of the stories you're working on or something like that, um, how would they view this object? How uh, how might the narrator of a piece of nonfiction um, connect this to a memory or something like that? Uh, and then the third one we'll get to when we get to. But across all three stages of this, um, yeah, keep in mind this idea of description, not explanation. So even in the context situation, still trying to work towards this feeling of observation. I'm going to read one more quote. We're not going to talk about it, but yeah, I think the the best version of this that I'm aware of, I just felt like I couldn't leave it out of this thing. So I'm going to read it, and then um, again, this kind of idea of like moments of arrival, like like the story's happening, we have all this summary, we're moving through time and space, and all of these things are happening, and then all of a sudden we're in like one place at one time and with one character seeing one thing, and then all of a sudden everything that just happened, it's like, aha, you know. And the thing that I always think about when I think about this idea is there's this one moment in um, Jesus' Son by Dennis Johnson that is just unbelievable. So I'm going to read it really quickly, and then we're going to jump into the writing. Um, Fair warning, it's like a kind of, you know, violent-ish scene. Someone has gotten in a car accident. So, yeah, fair warning on that. Um, the man hanging out of the wrecked car was still alive as I passed, and I stopped, grown a little more used to the idea of how badly broken he was, and made sure there was nothing I could do. He was snoring loudly and rudely. His blood bubbled out of his mouth with every breath. He wouldn't be taking very more. He wouldn't be taking many more. I knew that, but he didn't. And therefore I looked down into the great pity of a person's life on this earth. I don't mean that we all end up dead. That's not the great pity. I mean that he couldn't tell me what he was dreaming, and I couldn't tell him what was real. All right. So now we're going to start writing. Choose something to describe using only sensory language. Once again, you might pick something in your room or near you, something you noticed repeatedly this week, an object that once mattered to you, something your character might notice, physical detail that feels meaningful, even if you don't know why. Just describe the thing, use sight, sound, texture, movement, shape. Don't interpret, do not explain. Take about 7 minutes. Take about 2 more minutes. If you haven't hit all five of the senses, maybe try and stretch for a counterintuitive one. Just keep your pen moving, keep typing. All right. You're still describing. Come to a natural stopping point. We're ready to move on. Think about how you might place your detail into a larger context, your observation, your item, the thing that you've been describing. What would it look like in a room, in a landscape? What would happen if you placed a character near it? What would they think of it? What if it was a part of a moment, a memory, a ritual? What if it wasn't in your room anymore? What if it was important to a story? So let it belong somewhere else. Describe what surrounds it, what it touches. Zoom out. Try and stop from, or try and keep from leaving description. So stay grounded again. Try and be as concrete as possible, but widen the frame. Get a wider view, a higher vantage point. Step back. Where does this item exist in space, time, or context? Once again, take about 7 minutes or so. Take 1 to 2 more minutes. Continue situating it in that context. Where does this thing exist? Come to a natural stopping point. When you do, we will move through the last stage. We're going to let our focus drift even further out, even wider. Think about mood. Let your detailed descriptions tell us something about a character. Let them finally expand fully into metaphor, letting the environment mirror an internal state. Let them carry the weight of emotion, pattern, gesture towards something below the surface, time feeling layered, someone's inner life. So this is the most zoomed out, the abstract, the thematic, that moment of arrival, those final lines in the Zama quote, or the Jesus Son quote. Once again, 5 to 7 minutes. Take another minute. Try and arrive. All right. Let's see. Does any one person wanna read what they wrote? Totally optional.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. Um, Reaching for my water, I spill my coffee on the book, muddying the green, the houses, the writer's name in its bold yellow typeface. Even in the late Anthropocene, colors change with the seasons. The sun does not shrink. Winter can't last forever. I've never gotten a coffee stain out of a book, though, out of an old favorite t-shirt.
Awesome. Thank you, Sterling Elizabeth. Um, yeah, that's great. Uh, all right. That's all I have as far as guiding the the writing part. Um, but yeah, I try and do this when I'm stuck. Uh, like if I'm writing anything and I'm stuck, I'm like, what what's what's the person looking at? Like, what's going on around them? And then I try and like follow that, you know? And then yeah, it usually gets me writing about, and half the time I take it out, half the time it's not anything, or it's not where it's supposed to be, or um it's way too long talking about uh tree branches or something. But it gets the ball rolling a little bit. And I try and do this too, when I feel like I've been on my phone too much, like in a week or something like that. It's like that game of like, you know, name something you hear, name something you smell. You know what I mean? Um, so I try and do it in that situation as well. And uh, I always think about the stuff that Janet emphasized about, like, yeah, like collection. Um, the more you collect, the more the stuff starts to put itself in order for you. And like the more you notice, the more present you are in noticing, the more there is to notice. It just keeps expanding outward with you. And yeah, like I don't know, it's here in Philly, like the sky is really pretty a lot, and you sometimes you're walking around, you're like, whoa, it's just like this other thing or whatever. And there's so many other things like that are just waiting to kind of turn into something for you to hone your observations onto and interpret. And I think that's the main idea here is that, if things are standing out to you, if things are coming to your mind a lot, it's like for a reason. Like collect those things, write it down, and you know, the meaning will accumulate over time. Um, and the way that you see, I think, becomes the way that you write. And it's like a self what do you call it? A self-sustaining, like it feeds itself. The more you see, the more you write, the more you'll notice, and the more you'll have to write about. And yeah. But thank you for sitting on an afternoon or evening on Zoom with me. Uh, yeah, I appreciate you all being here, and I hope this was generative.
Thank you so much. Um, Thank you to everyone for making time to be here today. Thank you to Maximus for leading us through those exercises. I've just shared some links in the chat, including a link to a feedback survey, so you can let Maximus know what you liked about the session and let us know what you want to see from us in the future. You'll also see links for fall classes. As I mentioned earlier, there is one left to sign up for. It is with N.K. Jemisin, well-known science fiction, fantasy, sci-fi author, and that's in early December. And I think registration closes at the end of November. So don't wait to sign up if you're interested in that virtual class. It's only $50, and there's financial aid available if you live in the Philadelphia area and are low income. I also wanted to point out next week we've got another Thursdays on the Stoop, similar to this one, but totally different. It is called Hidden in My Ear, Poem Plus Prompt with Dilruba Ahmed. If you're curious about writing poetry, I definitely encourage you to attend. Dilruba is an amazing facilitator. Every Wednesday, we do drop-in co-working sessions on Zoom called Creative Co-working. We'd love to see you there. All of our public events are free, and we would love to include you. If you do want to support the work that we do and you have the means to do so, you can pitch in a couple bucks, whatever works for you at bluestoop.org/donate. It means a lot to me, it means a lot to us, and helps us put on more sessions like this one for the benefit of the community. You can stay on top of all of these things with our weekly newsletter. There's a link to that in the chat as well, or you can find it at bluescoop.org/news, or just by going to our website and looking around. Thank you again for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day.